So, hey friends on Facebook, happy St. Patrick's Day. I know that it's kind of a tradition for me to go someplace and drink a lot and report on the debauchery, but since this year I'm at the Texas Pinball Festival in Dallas, and since the beers are $7 a piece, I thought instead this time I'd just go ahead and take you for a walk through the convention hall and kind of let you see what one of these pinball things looks like, since I do talk about them a little bit. So give me a second and I'll report back shortly. When you go through the doors, basically you can see there are pinball machines everywhere and people playing them everywhere, and that the pinball machines kind of like vary in tone and subject matter, and they're eclectic and kind of a reflection of 20th and 21st century history. So this is Batman 1966, which is sort of a throwback to the original. So if you look at the play field, it's like got the bright colors and all of the classic characters from the TV show, as well as like the full color display that plays animation clips from the show. It's a lot of fun. You'll also see a lot of games like from the 80s and 90s. This game, Total Nuclear Annihilation, which is a personal favorite of mine, actually came out just last year, but it's such an incredible throwback to the 1980s and to the music videos, comics, and themes of that era, that I think it was a big hit with a lot of people. So here are some other classic games. You might have seen these like in stores and arcades and you know, ice hockey rinks and places like that. And then here are some of the older games that really go back in time, and you can see, like, if you're into like fantasy illustration and novels and stuff like that, that they put a lot of love and attention actually into the display on these things. So back in the early 80s, there were three major companies, Williams, Gottlieb, and Bally. And kind of on the outside, there was a company called Stern, and they were all making these games. And by the year 2000, the only one that was left was Stern. So, but you'll notice that there's like a lot of different artistic motifs. In particular, you know, there's like a lot of hand illustration styles. One of the games that really had the most to do with the modern way we think about pinball is this one called High Speed. It was designed by Steve Ritchie, and it came out in 1986. And if you look at the play field, you can see that it's a racing theme game, and that it draws heavily on the sound experience, as well as like using lights and an actual thematic theme to the gameplay to advance through it and keep you engaged. It was a very popular game, and it kind of set the stage for most of the games we think about today. So this convention is basically the result of several associations and also like pinball machine owners. So basically the machines you see here, these are all the private property of individual operators and collectors. My brother Jim's got 6 machines here. And you can see that the themes like range from kind of the mundane everyday to you know, indulgences in fantasy and stuff like that. So this AC/DC game just came out, I think I think last year, and you can see that they're not really beholden to style. Like the Star Wars machine's actually a year older than the AC/DC machine, and has the integrated video screen. So, excuse me, guys. Some of the great things that you'll see in here is there's like a lot of appreciation for the forerunners in the games that you'll see today. So yeah, and there's also like all kinds of different accessories and amusement vendors and stuff like that. So if you see somebody who's got like a pithy or clever t-shirt that you don't quite understand, well, if it's mechanical, then it's probably about pinball. So they also have a couple of really good classic video games, and I guess classic video games is different for everybody, but like there's a Donkey Kong and a Galaga and a Defender and an Asteroids, as well as here's a rare find, an actual working, fully functioning Tempest machine, which is in really good condition. So And then kind of in the back room here, you see that basically operators will bring multiple machines. My brother Jim brought 6 this year. Some bring as many as 20. And they'll basically set them up in rows and banks. And kind of it's a really good deal because for one admission price, you get to play these machines as much as you want over the course of 3 days. And of course, you get to meet people who are as enthusiastic about this hobby and passionate about it as you might be. So, look at this, 9-year-old girl playing a 30-year-old machine. So, this is an interesting corner. All of these machines are Star Trek. The one down on the very end is the Star Trek Anniversary Edition, and then you have the Next Generation, and then the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, and then you have the original 1980 Star Trek machine, which has the classic characters in the Enterprise from the motion picture. And over here, this is somebody's personal project. This is a Star Trek Mirror Universe machine, so you'll notice that it has like all of the logos, insignia, and uniforms from the Mirror Universe episode. So it's a great deal of fun and a lot of fun to play too. So you'll also see pretty significant and matured aftermarket for pinball machines and for adding your own particular embellishments and styles to them. This is a new concept in pinball. This is a hybrid combination of mechanical and I guess you would call it video pinball. They just came out with this machine this week, and you can see they do a lot with trying to merge video games and pinball. All right, now this is something that they're trying to raise money for. This is basically a physical Pong, so think like air hockey but Pong. Everything you wanted when you were little, and little kids seem to like it. So, and past these guys who are keeping us apprised of all of the worldly wisdom about pinball, and these people who are kind of tuned into it. We'll go ahead and head back for the entrance. And the great thing about this show, and I kind of say this a lot, is when I first got into this in like 2013, it was basically guys like him and guys like me, I guess, you know, middle-aged white guys in their 50s who remembered happy times of their childhood. And now it's like everybody of every age, women, men, boys, girls, people from all over the world. And they just kind of mesh right into it. It's like one of those things that has the immediate power to excite you and satisfy you. So I hope you like the tour, and I'll talk to you later on.